Hello and welcome back to my crafty channel. This is Paula. We are continuing on with my Southeast Asia adventures, putting together a bit of a travel album. And I'm up to Phnom Penh. So this is a lovely city in Cambodia. We had a really lovely time getting into the more cityfied, cosmopolitan sort of regions of Cambodia here. We got to see some fabulous sights. It's quite a big city, but you still have very traditional sites. You've still got temples to go explore, and some very creepy crawly type things to nibble on. Not that I tried. Some beautiful palaces and things to look at. But also in Phnom Penh is a bit more of a sobering experience, and that is the genocide camps. So we went to the prison and had a look at the conditions that some people were subjected to, and then also one of the killing fields, which is a very traumatic part of Cambodia's history, and something that I do want to capture in my album because it really did influence us a lot with what we got to see and hear. So those are the two aspects I want to cover on this double page spread. So it's going to be quite a lot of photos and quite a lot of detail to get in there. So I'm thinking flip flaps might be the way to go to get some of the capture some of the stories and the photos. Now in terms of paper, we have just finished our previous page was looking at some of the Angkor Wat temples in the other part of Cambodia, and that was using that gorgeous Everyday You and Me collection, which has got lots of teals and browns in it. It's also got the mossy meadow, which isn't showing on that page, but you can see it's kind of got these beautiful shades in here. So it would be quite good to carry a little bit of that colouring onto the next page, just because it's nice for the eye to keep travelling through the pages in a bit of a flow. So I'm keeping that in mind, but I'm not going to use that range for this next one. What I'm thinking of doing is bringing in some of those lovely goldy hues through this lovely textured paper that we've got in our range. And accompanying this is the Botanical Textures as well, which is a lot of black and white. So if you look on the opposite side, this is very grungy effects on this side, but it has got a real sort of botanical floral aspect to it too, all these lovely leafy things. So we're going to have a play around with this paper, but we're going to tie it in with the colours that have come from the paper and the layouts previously, so that the whole layout does flow. Now I'm also thinking of bringing in a few of the elements that go with this range. So we have got this textured notes bundle, which comes with this really beautiful stamp set with some nice textured elements, but it also comes with a set of dies that are rectangular and they stack up, so you can do sort of matting and your photos and have really nice little textured borders around them. We can also pull in the little corrugated iron style effect of an embossing folder if we wish for a bit of texture. And I have pulled out this, which is the Tags to Go die. Now the reason being is that obviously visiting a prison and some of those sort of more sobering topics, I kind of thought maybe we could bring in the keys element here in the lock just as a bit of an embellishment piece as well. This is kind of a fun set and I do love the keys, so we're going to give that one a go as well. So let's see what we create with all of these photos and all this beautiful paper. Right, so I've pulled in a couple of colours of cardstock. We have got our Lost Lagoon here, and we have also got Crumb Cake, which are tones that could work with what has been and what is coming in these photos. But I will, as always, start off by using a white base and then possibly considering pulling these in as framing. So let's take a look at a couple of the key photos and their colours against some of the papers. So I've got the two different colours in the backdrop as the potentials to frame the page. And then I'm pulling in some of these beautiful Botanical Textures papers. So we have got the more decorative ones that are black and white, and I've actually quite like the white patterns better. This one is a nice soft white pattern, but there's also this one that I'm quite interested in trying as well, because it feels almost a little bit more enclosing, which from a prison aspect that kind of works with the theme. Then with some of the more textured pieces, we've got these ones here. That is almost a bit too soft, I think. That one's quite washed out, but I'm giving it a try. This one's just a nice texture that could really work with anything, and you can see that that's kind of pulling in those colours nicely. still working with the gold on that side, so that's all right. And then we've got this darker one here, more rich feel of a weave. And again, I can get away with it on here. I definitely need to photo mat the photos, but it does draw in the contrast between the two shades. Now, one thing I'm going to give a go, and I'm not sure yet how it's going to work, but let's just see what it would be like to blend on a bit of colour, maybe a bit of green or a bit of the lagoony colour into the patterned paper in the backdrop, and see if we like that even better. So let's take just a piece of scrap paper, we'll pull in our little sample piece, and first we're going to try Mossy Meadow on one side, and I might do a Lost Lagoon or Pretty Peacock on the other side, just nice and softly, so we don't want too much coming on, and just really lightly bringing it in, which does look quite pretty. And that's a good thing about this black and white paper, is you don't have to stick to it just being black and white. So if we had that kind of colour coming through, it's going to instantly give a lift to our colour combinations going on. And I'm imagining if I pull in this photo, we can see that the greens are going to work quite nicely together. If I pull in the other photo, it's working really well with the natural scenes of what's going on. There's also things like this one with a bit of green around it, and definitely it's going to work. So another idea with this piece is not to blend it, but to actually pull in the colour by using a water brush. So we can just pull in, get a little bit of this ink onto a mat. Pulling in a mat here, just tap a little bit of that ink onto there, and then I can use a water brush just to squeeze some water and pick it up, and then I can obviously, oh, that's a bit too much, let's just wipe a bit off, just give a little hint of colour to some of these leaves. And that's another way that I could colour in this piece to have a nice little touch shade of colouring without it being overpowering. So let's just see how that might look under the paper. I'm just doing a little touch in the centre here just to give us a flavour. Obviously I do it a little bit neater. Here we go, we just got a little flavour of it. So if I pulled that in without getting colour everywhere, that's just a nice subtle bit, but it's still got a very white backdrop. And my last thought was to bring in the Lost Lagoon type of colour, which is more of a teal. So let's just try that, and we'll just blend that one on so that we've just got a few different variations to try. This one definitely will look a bit more blue compared to the Mossy Meadow. It's quite a tealy effect. So I'm just putting on a soft amount of that for the moment. And it's obviously going to work quite nicely with the backdrop here. But let's look at it with the photos. So this one definitely has got teal in it. So that works okay, works quite well. And then if we pull in our themes from the other side, the teal is fine. It's kind of not there, but it's still, it works fine. But I'm thinking if I go back to it, I actually prefer the Mossy Meadow because it's a lot of outdoor scenes and a lot of garden. So that's how I'm going with the colouring of this layout. So here we go, we have stuck down the bits and pieces now. So we've got our lovely patterned paper and our textured paper, and I actually found a couple of sheets left over of my craft cardstock, so I've gutted out the back, but that is going to work nicely with the colourings of this page. So let's just look at how we can lay out our photos with all this. So I have got a whole ton of photos here. So for the left hand side, I'm thinking, let me just look, I'm thinking I wouldn't mind the woman facing in. I have got, I've got a couple to do with the Royal Palace. This lady was at one of the other temples that we visited, and they do an offering of those birds. Well, they let the birds go, sort of thing. But we can probably overlap that one there and bring this one here. So I can get that many on here easily. So what's that, 2, 4, 6 photos, and I've got some extras, so I'm thinking I could pop these ones underneath this in a flip flap, and I have got a couple of these little extras which could probably go under there in a flip flap too. So I can get all of those photos, so that's 10 photos on that side, I'm sure. And this side round, which is our I've got a few less photos, put it that way. So I definitely start with a jail one there for the prison. We'll potentially put this one in. I've actually made this one a 4x4. The rest are 3x4s. And this could just bring in here, perhaps lined up with that one on that side. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And oops, bring them in a little bit so we can see some of that green. So there's our photos positioned. So if we've got our photos, we can start to have a little bit of fun with how we're going to place embellishments. So first off, I have gone and got the 1/2 inch strip that I cut off my white piece. I actually cut it off this end because there's 2/4 inches. And I've gone along with this little stamp here from our Textured Notes stamp set. It's got this lovely little textured one here, and I've just gone along and just done some little bit of stamping along the edge, and I think that's going to look quite cool as a border along the bottom, just for a bit of interest. And it's not taking away from anything, it's just giving us another little element layer. Now I've also taken that stamp set and stamped a few of these pieces, and this one actually, and just fussy cut out, just so to see whether any of them could be of any use to us. So I've stamped them in Early Espresso and in Mossy Meadow, just to give us a little bit of contrast here. So maybe we could just pop, not sure really, let's just pop a couple kind of over to this side for starters. What else have we got here? We've got that little piece that I cut out, like the little mat, that can probably come down here. What else have we got? We've got another one of these. So I feel like we almost need something over here as well, coming up and around, which could look really lovely. I'm thinking I've got journaling and reasonable amount of it, so I could even pop a little bit of that journaling up over here, and I've got quite a bit down here, so we may have to scooch this up just a little bit. Yeah, if we do that a little bit more, because I've got quite a bit of journaling about this that I want to bring in, so that can sort of slide in there. I've just popped my paper on my journaling on copy paper at the moment, but obviously it will be finished off properly either on vellum or on some proper cardstock. So we can do something a little bit like that. And then of course I need a title, and I have just cut out at this point using some of that textured paper, Phnom Penh, the name of the city. Let's just see if they're kind of still in the right order after me picking them up. And I quite like this darker texture for the letters because it makes them stand out that much better. So I might have to scooch these ones up just a little bit too. Oh, I forgot that. There we go. Giving us a little bit of an idea anyway of how that might look with that, with a little bit of a title down the bottom. We're starting to get this to all come together. I do think I need a little bit of background stamping though. So how about I pull in the stamp set here, maybe this littler one, which is quite sweet, and I might just stamp a little bit of that in the background, maybe under here first off. So let's just move a few of these things out of the way. We'll just pop that one up a bit. I'm going to use Mossy Meadow. I might just do a bit of double stamping because it always softens it a bit. And how big is this one? So we need it to come out kind of around here. That's just giving us a little bit of interest around that piece, which looks rather sweet. Bring that down a bit. Bring that over. Some of that's going to be covered up obviously with my journaling, but if I do use vellum it will show through a little bit, which will be really nice. What else can I pop down here? Well, up here I think I want some of the same stamp around this one, so I just need to clean it off because I'm going to bring in Early Espresso instead. So let's pull in. Oh, my cleaner is getting a little bit dirty, my mat, so I'm going to have to give that a good rinse out, I think. So let's just put in Early Espresso. I'll just check it's stamping correctly. It doesn't have any colour left in it. That should be fine. So I'm just going to do a little bit where these ones are. So let's just go like that. And a little bit like that too. So that should just give a little bit of interest around that spot. So that one's just not sitting there all on its lonesome. We've got our journaling over there. So that's kind of looking cool. Now, I always think it looks nice to add in a few tags as well. So I have cut out a couple of these little tags from this Tags to Go dies. And let's just see, I cut out a tiny bit of this. This is actually using the rectangle dies, which could actually come up here with a little date on it or something. I could pop in those tags up that end as well, which could be quite interesting. Or I could bring tags in over here around this lot. In fact, what does that look like with that up there? No, I still think it looked better this way. But we could certainly pull in some tags around here, even if it was under here. Bit of a tag coming out. Tags just help to give a little focal points, I find. So I could have a couple of tags over there, and I could have a couple, as I thought, over here, just for interest. And this one can come across with either the date on it or some other little statement on it. I have to have a little look for one. But we're starting to get this to come together. The last thing I want to do is a little bit of splattering around the back, which I will do off camera, just so that it doesn't look quite so stark white, and this is a real textured effect today. And because I visited a prison, I have also cut out a whole heap of little keys and padlock from the paper, and I'm thinking I might just do a little cluster of those, whether that is kind of attached to this point here. Just a few of these. I'm not sure how many I need to use. That's kind of like the ring that it all holds on. Whether I use that there. Even got this tiny weeny little one that could just be hanging out of the padlock. Kind of cool. So yeah, I could use a little bit of that kind of thing happening in that corner too, just to bring a little theme to there. And the other little theme we've got going on over here is it's a city, but it's also got a cute little bird. So potentially I could stamp one of these little birds to bring something of interest up into that cluster. So let's just go and finish it off, and we'll see how it all comes together. So here you have it, it's all put together. I have pulled in some lovely hexagons, and I've pulled in some flip flaps, and I actually did move my journaling all the way down to the bottom on the left hand side, so to make my title fit as well. So it's all come back together really well. I love the texture that's in this kit, and I really enjoyed making this work for all of my many photos. Thanks for watching.